what's happening with Taylor.
Well, they started out the race with
Problems, right? We've got problems on the racetrack. The 17 of Timothy Peters into the inside wall.
Remember, he was that group of 4 trucks that we were watching.
See if we get it started.
With Ryan Newman and the 16 of Brian Scott.
Under Brian Scott, looks like they sucked the air off of him.
Yeah, Phil, you had hit me in the arm about 4 times pointing at those guys. You knew that was a troublesome pack all together. They're wadded up. Again, he was down on the bottom of the racetrack, and he just didn't have the grip.
And that's what we heard from the crew chief and the spotter there for Timothy Peters. They said Brian Scott was just on the outside. We're on the bottom. You lose the air on the spoiler. Take another look.
Here it is. We see it so many times. Gets down in the corner pretty good. Then he bottoms out. Watch, he has to chase it up the hill. Now he gets really close, and that's when you really lose that air. And there he just lost the air off that rear spoiler, and around he went. Pretty significant contact with the inside wall.
For most of that corner, he thought he was okay. You know, he got down on the inside. It made a pretty good turn through the center, but as it exited, it washed up, got right next to the 16 of Brian Scott. He couldn't hold on to it.
If he could have maintained that several feet in between he and Brian Scott, he probably would have been okay. But once he got out next to Brian Scott, then all the downforce went off the back of that truck.
Unfortunate for Timothy Peters. Our first caution of the night has come out. It's been all Mike Skinner out front. You see Timothy taking a look at that truck now as he will climb into the ambulance. They'll take him into the infield care center.
You know, we've been following the story of this team. A great start to the season, shoestring budget, making it work. And this is just a huge setback. A good running truck, a truck that was really fast, and it just got away from him on the exit of the turn.
And he was on the inside wall, hit that wall, and then he's kind of caught it here, but he'll slide up into the outside wall and do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, Brian Eichler did an awfully nice job to avoid Timothy Peters.
And you have to appreciate what Brian was trying to figure out.
Which way is he going?
Timothy was going every which direction and didn't have any control of his truck. So he did a good job of just evaluating what Timothy was doing and then making a decision late.
And we will watch to see who wins the battle off pit road. Johnny Benson, the first down, followed by, it looked like Chad McCumbee in the second position. All these guys will come back for fuel.
The first time the race off pit road, well, it's won by Johnny Benson. We'll see how they do the second time they come around when we return to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Welcome back to the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Our first round of pit stops are complete now, and we had a few violations take place down there, didn't we, Ray?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, Rick, it's so interesting to cover the pit road this year with the new rules that we have. It really keeps us hopping down here. But look at Colin Brown. That Conway truck has gone all the way up to second. Little track position game these guys played. And the reason is they took fuel only, did not come back for tires. So just one pit stop for truck number 6. Adam?
A couple other guys at the front played that same strategy. Kyle Busch coming in here. Why would he come in when he was running in the top 5? Because they were penalized. When they came down for fuel on their second stop at lap 28, they had too many men over the wall. They were going to go to the tail end of the longest line, so why not come down and fuel the truck? Mark down lap number 32 is when they did that. That could play big dividends if we have a long green flag run, despite the fact that they go to the tail end of the longest line. And then there's Mike Skinner. Kind of a bad news, good news situation for him. The bad news is on their first stop, they were penalized to stop and go. The good news is when they came back down to fuel the truck, that paid their debt to NASCAR as the stop and go. Therefore, they will restart in the top 5, and they will be the first of the trucks with 4 tires when we go back to green.
Side of Rick Crawford. Here's 2 and 3 wide just behind him, coming out of 4.
Oh,
Taylor Molson was completely sideways and spinning through the grass.
And back out onto the racetrack in front of a few trucks.
Oh, Skinner gets clobbered. Skinner gets hit hard down into turn 1.
On his side is Mike Skinner, back on the wheels now. He got hit very hard.
He was
I'm okay.
He got turned around after Malsom spun off 4. I just happened to be watching it. He was sliding backwards, went up in the middle of the racetrack, and got clobbered from behind. But we heard him say he's all right.
Yeah, that was great news. And that was Mike Skinner himself saying, I'm all right.
Adam Alexander.
He came on the radio, criticized another driver on the track, and you could hear the tone in his voice. He was okay, but the fierce competitor in him was coming out. And after a wild crash like that, You tip the cap to NASCAR for their safety and how well these trucks are made. And I tell you what, while it's tough on paper to see the point leader have a crazy crash like that, the good news is he's going to walk away. Amazing.
Man.
And race again in our next race at Dover.
They're looking for
A little bit disappointed, I'm sure, after coming off the Kansas race with a win, taking over the points lead. And now his night will end early as the red flag has come out here, as they will have to clean up this racetrack.
You can see as you look at Kyle's truck now, the window net is down. And I believe what we're looking at is a live picture of Kyle. But a moment ago, he got out of the truck, looked at the damage on the left front, and it was almost, if you listen to him talk, it was almost as if he had a legal pad and a pencil writing down all the issues and the number of parts and pieces they would need to get this thing repaired. And you may remember the reason he was back there is because of that penalty when they came down pit road for fuel the second time at lap 28. Too many guys over the wall. So anytime you put yourself behind the 8 ball as far as track position, you know you open the door to being involved in an accident. And so Doug George has been on the radio talking to his guys, making sure everyone knows where they're supposed to be so they don't get penalized again and sending too many people over the wall. And Kyle Busch, very cool and calm behind the wheel and using his knowledge of the race vehicle to help his team when he comes down pit road for repairs. Here you see the replay. This reminds you of Sterling Marlin. Wasn't it in 2002 in the Daytona 500 when he got out, touched his vehicle under red? That's a no-no.
Yeah,
We'll wait and see if there's a penalty here for Kyle Busch. I'm not sure why there would be. He didn't touch it, didn't work on it.
Well,
he climbs back in, and now he knows a little bit better of what they need to do. And you can see there's a conversation going on now with Doug George and a NASCAR official. We'll continue to follow this as the evening continues. The drama of the crash, certainly first and foremost, but you know, in some way.
Adam, you mentioned Sterling Martin. What happened there is he made adjustments, or he was trying to fix his vehicle under red, and you can't do that.
That, and also he wasn't planning on stopping again. He just wanted to pull his fender out so he could maintain track position. The reason why it doesn't matter really what Kyle Busch did is because he's going to come to pit road and they're going to work on that truck. Sterling was priceless. He climbed out of that car and he started working on it, and when somebody come up to him and hit him on the shoulder and said, "Hey bud, you can't do that," he's like, "What? I didn't do anything." There's